Hey guys, welcome to Passions of Paper. I'm back with my very last Halloween junk journal. This one took a little bit of extra time because I just wanted to, I wasn't ready to stop, to be honest, and so I just kept going and going and going with it, and I did a lot. I did a lot of different things in here. So, since there's so much to show off, I will try not to talk too much. On the cover here, we've got that same fabric, the creepy fabric from Joann's, and then I've got some of these leaves. I did this really stretchy, soft, silky lace on here, and under that we've got this silk here that I end up using as the closure. And then I always forget to mention these, but I don't usually attach these parts here in the middle because I think it's cool to have this as an optional tuck spot. So it does go all the way through, and it's tight enough that it doesn't go anywhere. It is very secured on the edge, sewed over multiple times. And then the signatures, sewing the signatures through it helps hold it in there. And then also on the front of the cover, we've got this picture, which is glued and sewed down. So it is all very secure. Sometimes I don't even have a picture on the front, and you have a second tuck spot. But on this one, it's just the back, so I just wanted to point that out because I do always forget to say that. On here, we've got this beautiful soft tassel. Keep in mind that my colors are coming up more red than they should be. This is more of like a coppery, dull orange, kind of rust-colored. And this is like a burnt orange here, and it's probably coming up a little red. So there is no red in this. It's just some oranges that are not too bright but show up bright in the camera. And we've got some neutral tones in there. Lots of neutral tones. And then here we've got this cloaked figure, and it says stay silent. These are just words that I cut out from a printable that I had that had like lots of positive sayings that you could cut out and put in your journal. And I didn't buy anything for this specifically, so I was trying to come up with something that's Halloween-y, and stay silent was what I came up with, especially with this cloaked figure. And then I've got the cloaked figure layered on top of this Edgar Allan Poe paper back here. And then I put a frame. I cut out a digital frame and put that on top of that paper. And then we've got the eyelash yarn going around that, and then that is layered on top of this cheesecloth that's like this rusty orange color, coppery rusty orange color, and then that is on top of a thick piece of black paper, cardstock. And then all that is layered on top of all this stuff. So there's a lot of layering going on. And then, like I said, I got this silky orange fabric for the closure. It's very, very soft and very pretty. It really sticks out with this journal. Now I'm going to let you take a second to just soak in this amazingness. Like, I am so in love with this journal. This is absolutely my favorite one. I might have said that in one of my other videos, but that was because I hadn't made this one yet. So yeah, this is my favorite Halloween journal. I'm so in love with it. I did fabric tabs, and so there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those tabs going down in order. So those are fun. I've got some leaves sticking out. We've got some messy yarn sticking out. We've got this messy moss lace here sticking out, some film, and we've got a feather. This was a feather that I found in my yard. I think it was off of a hawk, but since I've never seen a hawk up close in person, I'm not entirely sure, but it's a big one, and it's got this nice brownish orange color, which is like perfection. Like, look at that. It's crazy. Been saving it for something special, and this was it. So all kinds of fun things poking out of there, and it is filled with all kinds of fun things as well. This is the inside of it. Alright, and we've got this glorious cover page here. I just absolutely love how this turned out. A little side note, this little scrap of paper here was from my son's painting. He was 4 years old, or no, I think he was 5 when he painted this, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm keeping that painting. And so I used a scrap of it for this journal because it's so cool. I love the oranges and the browns mixed together and stuff. And we've got these Tim Holtz, what are they called? Like, they're like the thick thingies. So I've got some of those throughout the journal. We've got this digital vintage picture of this boy on top of this real vintage paper. This paper was so vintage that that's like super brittle. And I was trying to make it a page in the book, but it kept chipping away. And I was like, that's not going to work. So I tore it into some scraps because I just love the way that the wording, the letters look. And it made some good scraps in this journal. Speaking of scraps, in this tuck spot, we've just got this very grungy scrap. It's like a little secret message that the boy wrote. Here we've got some grungy sewing and some fingerprints. Some creepy, mysterious fingerprints. We've got a tuck spot here at this piece of scrap. This was a printed page of my my mixed media paper. And then we've got burnt paper. This was coffee dyed and then burnt on the edges. And there's several pieces of that throughout. Some way more burnt than this. This is pretty light. I did some black paint splatters and ink splatters. You probably won't be able to tell the difference really. And then I did, I grunged up the digitals real good. They've been crinkled. They've been distressed on the edges. They've been inked and sprayed. And then we've got a cluster here, just a really grungy cluster. This is a page from Greg's shorthand. I love his little symbols. They just seem very grungy to me, so I like to add those. We've got a vintage page of a boat, how to build a boat in here. I have several vintage elements in this journal. We've got some of that burnt paper, some coffee dyed paper, some of my backsplash paper, and yeah. And then these can lift up and those papers can come off, or you can refill them with whatever you want. So those are always fun to add to a journal. Here's some burnt paper. And then we've got some vellum paper here that I did some stamping on. And I love it so much because you can see this really cool background paper coming through. This is one of those leaves that I sewed on. You could use that as a tuck spot. And on this paper we have an envelope that I made. It's got a journaling card on it. It's just one of my digitals that I haven't made into a digital, still debating on it, of my mixed media paper. Never made a digital before, so I love these mixed media papers, and I thought about making them to a digital, but I'm just not really sure if I want to do the work to figure it all out, how to do all that and stuff. We've got a cool cluster here. I love that paper. Here's that feather I was just showing you. Some creepy little elf here, or fairy here. And then here's one of those tabs, and I've got the bulb pin with some little beads on it. There are different textures of coffee dyed papers. There's different textures of printed papers. Some are very thick and can hold up to a lot of abuse. Here we've got a journaling card that I made in this little pocket. Love how this little pocket looks. It's so cool. Really breaks up the lines on this page, having these splatters or splotches. Making up new words here. The other side of the papers. I love these digitals. Those are my favorite. Here we've got one of those journaling cards with the thick embossed paper. Some of my grungy paper on the back. I love the way that sounds. So fun. And this is just like just a little bit of a pocket here. So I use this pin here to hold that card in. We've got a grungy cluster here. I just love this one. This was my coffee dyed cheesecloth, and then I kind of heated it up a little bit, which changes the texture of it. So that's a lot of fun. And then we've got some coffee dyed or corrugated cardboard here. That was from a Tim Holtz coffee holder thing. And then Tim Hortons coffee cup holder thing. This is Tim Holtz right here. Sorry. A lot to remember when talking through these videos. And we did some splatters. This is some of my more heavily burnt paper. Look how beautiful that is. Really ties in with these digitals. This is a vintage notepad, note paper. And here we've got the mini journal. I've included this in a couple of the other Halloween journals, but this time I took it to another level. So the outside's mostly the same. I just added this fabric tab here and put classified on it. It still has the wooden beads just like the other ones, but the inside's much more heavily decorated. It still has 64 pages just like the other ones. I just did a lot more decorating to this one. I was just having so much fun. I literally couldn't stop, and this was my last one. And even though I'm eager to move on to the fall journals, I was really enjoying the grungy, just being grungy in my journals. I just love that. So there's lots and lots of writing space in this. This says top secret, and we've got this little washi tape here, but it does open up easily without ripping anything. It's just some simple washi tape from Tim Holtz. I did some corrugated cardboard stamping lines on here, and then I used a stencil, and I used ink through the stencil lines and pen. And then I did lots of other stencils for the background and paint splatters. I inked every single one of the page edges except for the book one. But all the rest of the page edges were inked. And then there's lots of stamping. I'll just set that aside. This journal is with all the goodies in it. It's pretty thick. It's a big one. But if you take this out and you take this out, it's not too bad. It's still a little bit gator mouthed, but it's still very handleable. Still has lots of space for your own decorating. But it's definitely the most decorated of them all. Real quick, the thing that I just pulled out of the back here is just an envelope that is loaded with scraps and playful things. It's loaded. So there is a lot of stuff that you can use to decorate, to continue decorating this journal. So much stuff in there. I'm not going to go through all that. And then there's a few other things in here too. So we've got a mini journal, we've got this giant envelope full of goodies, and then here we've got a grungy writing space with a cluster, and we've got this little, my son likes to call the little papers that you pull out clues. I love that. But we've got one of these little papers that you can just play on, have fun with, tucked behind there, and you can tuck some of your own ephemera behind there. This page, I love how this turned out. It's got super beat up in my grunging process. This is a little vintage piece of paper. Got a leaf sewn on there. Oh my goodness, look at this burnt paper. This is absolutely gorgeous. This is probably my favorite page. Love how that turned out. Here I've got some vintage bingo cards that make good journaling cards. You can just write on the back of them and stick them right back in. You can make to-do lists on them. We've got October 31st right here with this little cluster. Another pocket here, and just a little scrap to write on. This is a vintage paper that was used to, back in the days, this had recipes glued on, and the glue that they used back then was not very good, so everything has fallen off, but I like the grungy effect that it left to the paper. So I really love using those vintage papers in this journal. Here we've got some creepy fingerprints. This is a vintage newspaper. This is a library card holder that I stenciled. I love the effect of this stencil. With the little brush. Use this little brush on it. It looks so cool. And then I put some of this orange cheese, or this is the reddish cheesecloth. Orangey red. And then I got a little radiator tag on that. And then in here I made this little cluster of a card, journaling card. And it has a pocket down here with a little scrap of paper that you can write on. So lots going on there. And here's my second tab. This video is already getting really long. Whoops. Alright, we've got an envelope here that is glued to the page. And it has this lady that somebody really hates and scratched her face out. And we've got like a little blood spot right behind her head. Just a little journaling card. Just having fun. Crazy dyed paper. Love the way that sounds. This page here is from a vintage tool book. The colors that they used were all black and orange, so of course I had to put that in this journal. And here we've got some of that moss lace. The other side of that really cool burnt paper. Here I used a strip of film as a belly band, and we've got a Stacy Daisy, I think, card. And it just says "Embrace the Dark" with a bat. Another one of those little pages that I did with the belly band. That's like a belly band, and we've got just a scrap of paper on the inside that's been grunged up. And this is all grunged up. Another one of those tabs. That's the third one. This is a vintage ad. This is just a piece of paper that I put down on here, and I just did some clustering and some collaging. Another one of those envelopes with another one of those journaling cards with my beautiful mixed media paper. This is a vintage page, a page from a vintage journal from 1966. We've got this grunged up envelope here with this collage card. And then I just stenciled on the back of it. And we've got some more fingerprints. I tried to make it look bloody, but it was just a little bit too orange. And here's where I have got the film on the edge. I love the way that looks sticking out. Plus, it feels nice. Some cotton, not cotton, handmade paper here. Another page from that fairy book, The Dark Fairies, The Good Fairies and the Bad Fairies, or something like that. And I chose some of the bad fairies for this journal. Another tab. We've got more beads on the bulb pin. Journaling card here that I backed with some crunchy paper, and it's got like a little flip out. So lots of journaling space on that card. Oh, and I did a little cluster here too, with some more of that really cool paper that I was talking about at the beginning. Burnt paper. Here I have a flip out. It's an envelope. So inside we've got a journaling card, a nice big one, with the crunchy paper on the back. And in here we've got another one of those envelopes of goodies I was talking about. This is a vintage coin envelope. I'm not sure how old it is, but you can smell the vintage smell. And we've got a lot of goodies in here. We've got this little tree button thing. It's not really a button, but you can use that somehow. And an H for Halloween. We've got a little black cat charm and a spider web. A paper clip, a black paper clip that you can use for your own ephemera. Brass radiator tag, which you can use to decorate. And a mask charm. So just a fun little collection. These envelopes, I always do that tacky glue so they can be closed and reopened without damaging. And I just did some collaging here. And then this side of the envelope I turned into a tuck space, and we've just got this fun little paper here that you can also journal on the back of. Plenty of journaling space there. We've got a very large journaling card here of this wolf. Love this picture, so I always turn this into a journaling card. Oops. I just did some, I put some black paint water on yellow paper and glued these squares down and traced inside of them. This is a vintage notepad paper. And we've got some cards in here. It's just some vintage cards. They just kind of got the colors, so I just included those. I did a cluster down here with the messy yarn. And then we've got another tab. This is a vintage piece of paper that came with a pack of vintage, random vintage things that I bought on Etsy. And I'm like, what am I going to do with a picture of a clown? And so I had fun putting that in the Halloween journal. Clowns are creepy, you know? If you don't think clowns are creepy, you're weird. Maybe I'm weird, but whatever. Clowns are creepy. And then I just took it a step further and I did some red finger paint smearing down his face. Got another one of those little notepads, the grungy papers, plenty of writing space. Super grungy page here. Creepy little guys out of my fairy book. Different fairy book, that one. I've got this picture where these kids just look kind of creepy, so threw that in there. They look very mad. That's the other side of that clown paper. Tab there. Trying to go a little faster so this video doesn't take crazy long. I've got a little fabric tab here. It's a different fabric. And a cluster here. This page, yeah, that's one of my burnt papers. Okay. And then we've got this CD envelope here. It's full of all these yarn scraps, or just lots of, actually it's lots of different things. It's not sealed, so you can open that and use it, or you can just play with it, because it feels good. More fingerprints. We've got like a little ogre here beating on people. Another one of those envelopes with one of my mixed media cards. Just reminding you that this is not my, this was a printed page of my mixed media, not actual mixed media on this paper. It can be hard to tell on the camera, and I want to try to keep things as clear as possible. I've got some grungy washi tapes here from Tim Holtz, another tab. Did some edging on here. I've got a we've got one of these papers that's made from the jelly plate, and got this cool little card in here, a little vintage playing card, and then a journaling card. This is some really grungy paper. I'm not really sure how it got these lines. Came from the cooking process, but it's really cool. And that's the end. So this envelope here, I just kind of keep on here with this clip. And then this just sits inside of the signatures because there's that nice big gap there. And that's how I keep all that stuff contained. So this journal is already listed in my Etsy shop. So if you're interested, I'll have a link in the description box below. And I just want to thank you guys so much for watching my journals and for subscribing to my channel. I'll see you guys again later with some fall journals, hopefully. Thank you again, and have a great day. Bye.